Good morning, agents, MCAs, OPs, team leaders, PC coaches. We have seen so much conversation right now about Docusign. So, what I would like to do is, we as a market center recently overcame this hurdle and we put templates together that are rockstar templates. We made them available to all of our agents, and everybody is now hitting the ground running writing contracts in Docusign. I know I wanted to pull my hair out for a while trying to learn this, and I know a lot of you have now opted back into Dotloop and are spending money, even though DocuSign is free. So I thought I would go ahead and come from contribution, focus on the solution and not the problem, and show y'all exactly how to be rock stars in DocuSign. Please make sure that you tag your OP, your team leader, send this information to your MCAs, and go ahead and get your market center staff committed to setting you guys up for success using Docusign templates. It took us about 10, 15 hours to get everything set up. And frankly, we recreated the wheel because we didn't know what we were doing. So if you watch these videos and you have someone who is super tech savvy to help the MCAs get these set up, honestly, you could probably do it in about 5 hours. All right, let's do this thing. Okay, folks, here's what we're going to do. Today, I want to show you how to bring in listing documents into your template section of Docusign and how to create a template and a few of the pieces of functionality that Docusign offers that I just think are amazing. Just to give you a little bit of context here, we recently as a market center lost access to Dotloop. We all underestimated how difficult that transition was going to be. So what happened was we didn't really have the proper forms. We didn't really know what we were doing in DocuSign, and overnight, it became just hugely difficult to execute any paperwork for nearly, all of our hundreds of agents. So here is what the workaround we created was, and honestly, I think it's a game changer for our market center. So MCAs that are out there, agent services, team leaders, PC coaches, this is in your best interest. Bring this to your OP and see if they are willing to take this on and get everybody set up with awesome forms. So here we go. In DocuSign, the first thing you need to know is there are two sides to DocuSign. So if you click your little avatar up here, you can see switch to rooms, okay? And when you're in rooms, it says switch to e-signature, okay? So just to show you what it looks like, when you switch to rooms, it's gonna take you to what is essentially the loops section in Dotloop, okay? So these are called rooms. Every transaction has a different room, okay? So you can see here, we've got Sally Seller's purchase, and then here we have Sally Seller's listing, okay? So we're going to switch back over to e-signature. We're going to be in our template section right now, okay? And what I want to do is start a new template. You can upload a template, meaning someone can create a template, download it, send it via email, and then you can upload a template, okay, from your computer. Or you can create a new template, okay? For the purpose of today, we're going to create a new template. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and upload the listing contract. When you are setting up a template, you set up the name and description, okay? You add documents to the envelope, and then you add recipients to the envelope. So the most important thing here is that we do the same verbiage for every template we set up, because you don't want to have multiple roles that really just apply to the same person. So what we have done is we have set up listing agent 1, seller 1, seller 2, and then let's do admin 1, okay? Admin 1 is gonna receive a CC at the end, okay? And I think it actually put it in alphabetical order. So what we wanna do is set the signing order, okay? And admin 1 is gonna be the last round. Listing agent is gonna get the first round. And then the clients are actually gonna get the clients are going to get the second round. So the way that this works, let me zoom out to show you. The way that this works is listing agent is going to get an email with the contracts that they can adjust, verify, and then sign. Seller 1 is going to get the next round along with seller 2, and they can fill this out at the same time and they need to sign. Then when the packet is completed, all signers are going to receive the completed documents, but if you want your transaction coordinator or your admin or anything like that to receive a copy once the documents are completed, this is what you need to do, okay? So our standard email subject is going to be please Docusign listing contract designated agency. We're actually just going to say something like, here are your listing documents to review and sign. Looking forward to working with you. Please do not hesitate to reach out with any questions. Okay. All right, so we have set our name and description. We've added our documents to the envelope, and you can add as many as you want. If you wanted to, we could do seller's disclosures and lead-based paint blank. Okay. All right. We've set the signing order, 1, 2, 2, 3, receives a copy, and then we've done our subject in our message. Next step is going to be to hit next. All right, so what you can see here on the right-hand side, these are your documents. If you click this little up and down arrow, it will either expand or collapse your documents, okay? And this is really helpful when you've got about 12 documents here that you need to go through. The other thing worth mentioning is you can click on the page, it will take you straight there. And once we start to set fields, you're going to see which pages have fields and for which parties those fields apply to. So the way that Docusign works is you have got different sort of paint colors that you can paint with, and they pertain to the different roles that are involved in this envelope. Okay, so let's just say we want to start painting with the listing agent. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to bring a text box over here, and your MCA can create rules so that anywhere it says property, this will autofill with the property from the details section of the room that the agent is working in. Okay, so the other thing worth mentioning is if the box is completely filled in with color, it's because it's a required field. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Okay, once you uncheck it, it actually becomes see-through. However, it still has a colored boundary around it that tells you which person that field is for. The other thing that is worth knowing is there are some default fields in Docusign that you can have auto-populate. For example, if I'm painting with seller 1, I can grab their name, okay, and bring that over. If I'm painting with seller 2, I can grab their name and bring that over, okay? For broker, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click this text box, Control-C, Control-V, and I'm just going to bring this up here, and I'm going to fill this out with my brokerage, because that will never change. So I can put that in the template, no worries. This we're going to leave as a required field because we want to make sure that that always gets populated. However, your MCA is going to be able to field match this so that it pulls in the address, right? Okay, a few things that, that I want you to know, some tips and tricks here. We're going to paint with listing agent, and we're going to put radio buttons over here. You have the choice between radio buttons and checkboxes. The difference is that a checkbox is not a mandatory field. You cannot make them mandatory. Okay, this little plus sign is going to add for you additional boxes. One thing you could potentially do, and you can drag, by the way, and it will highlight all of them, and you can see that it's in a group because of the blue dotted line. You could potentially go over to validation and say that they have to select one. This function, I find, has some bugs to it, so I don't like to use it a whole lot. If I can, I will use radio buttons instead. Okay, so I'm going to drag over, highlight this, and press delete. Okay, so the other thing I want to show you is radio buttons that pertain to answers that the seller has to answer. You can click this and make it seller 1. Okay, it is a required field. They must select one button. Okay, they cannot select more than one. The other thing that I want to show you is you can collaborate. So you can say recipients can collaborate. Okay, what this will do is if seller 1 answers this question incorrectly, then seller 2 can go in and change the answer. It will highlight the field in signing and show up as red so that they can review any changes that other people have made, whether it's the listing agent or seller 2 that has made a change. You can also require initials for every change. I don't suggest doing this unless you're doing this back and forth in negotiations for a counter offer, because it can start to really crowd any change that is made. You kind of want people to be able to freely make changes in terms of like the seller's disclosures or the appliances and such. Okay. The other thing that is a nice trick here is you can drag over, Control C, Control V. Okay. Whoop. All right. So that makes it really easy to go ahead and quickly format this template. The other thing that I really enjoy is you can drag over and highlight this group of radio buttons and you can align them. Okay. If I wanted to make sure that they were lined up with the bottom line, I would hit that. And did you see it moved? I would hit that. And did you see it moved? Okay. So we're going to align them so that they look nice and neat. This is really helpful with the seller's disclosure form. Okay. The other thing you're going to want to make sure you do is every field needs to have a text box. Whether it's required or not is up to you, but it needs to have a text box. Okay. So this one right here is for the expiration date. So one cool thing you can do is, yes, the listing agent is going to fill this out. Yes, it's a required field. And you can use validation to make sure that it's a date. Okay. And the benefit of this is that when it goes through to signing and the listing agent receives it in their email, you literally click on this field and a little calendar will pop up. So you could go 6 months out. You can make sure it's on a Monday and not on a Saturday, you know, things like that. All right. So this field right here, you could validate it to have a number, or you can leave it be. The other thing I like to do with fields is I like to make them as big as I can. This one is validated to a date, so this one doesn't matter as much. But if you put the field like that, then if they run out of room, it really changes the formatting and it doesn't look great. So I just like to make sure that copy, paste. I like to make sure that every field, every line has an opportunity for a field. Now, with that said, this is going to be for the seller to fill out, obviously. It's not a required field. However, what I would do if I were you is go ahead and click on these radio buttons and go to conditional logic. Okay. So these radio buttons are going to be a trigger for this field. So what we want to do is we want to set it up so that if someone triggers the no box, it will trigger this required field. Otherwise, it's not required. Okay. So the way that this works is you create rule, click on the fields to show when trigger field equals. So radio 2, okay, is the button we want. So when this field is triggered, now you click on the text box, it will be required. So if you see this, this stripe here, that is a conditionally formatted field. Okay, so when someone clicks no, they must explain. You're going to go ahead and add more text boxes. I wouldn't recommend doing it with a field that is already conditional. I would come back up here, copy and paste. Okay. And for these, you may want to go ahead and go to formatting and make it a 7 so that if they explain it, they have enough room. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn all of these to seller 1. Okay, they're all 7s now, and I'm going to drag over this entire area, and I'm going to say recipients can collaborate. That way, seller 2 can also participate in this. Okay, just to review for you, the conditional formatting would be conditional logic. So when they select no, this now becomes mandatory. Okay, so you have to remember it has to be a required field before you do this if you want it to be conditionally required. Okay, if yes, please explain. I'm going to click yes. I'm going to go down to conditional logic. When radio 1 is selected, this becomes mandatory. Fantabulous. Same thing here. Yes. conditional logic, radio 1. Okay, done. All right. So let's go ahead and copy and paste. Let's do inclusions. And we're going to go back down to 7. Okay. I'm going to drag over all of this, and I'm going to say that my clients can collaborate with me on this. If I put a washer here and they don't want that, that's okay. They can change it. Okay. And everyone's going to get a completed version that is signed afterwards. So if something is changed and someone, doesn't approve of it, they have an opportunity to go ahead and review and, tell the husband, like, why in the world would you put our washer on there? All right. So this gives you a little bit of an idea. We've gone over, we've gone over how to change these fields between people, how to toggle back and forth between what you're painting with. We've gone over, the idea of auto-populating seller two's email or name. We've gone over how to format to change from required to not required and what that looks like. Okay, we've gone over conditional logic, we've gone over collaboration, and we've gone over validation. I have several other videos that take you through our current Market Center templates, whether it is for buyer agency, drafting a sales offer, and I'm just about to shoot and publish one for taking a listing. So make sure you check out the other videos on our channel regarding templates so that you can see how we set them up and why we set them up, as well as what it looks like from the admin perspective, the agent perspective, and the client perspective in terms of drafting, modifying, and signing these agreements. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and toggle the bell for instant notification for content just like this.